Welcome everybody to my first YouTube fountain pen video. I'm quite excited about this video because I've been wanting to make this for quite some time now, but I just didn't know where to start, and I didn't really know, well, first of all, how to make a YouTube video, let alone find a subject to talk about. But fountain pen is something that I've been close with. I mean, I've always used fountain pens from my school days, so that's where the love of fountain pens has come from. Here I have a Parker fountain pen that I used during my school days. It's with a gold nib. Don't really use this pen anymore, mainly because it's more of a sentimental value than anything else. It's seen me through some exams, good times and bad times, and so this is why I've kept this. And also there's some kind of a problem with the pen. I mean, it has some kind of incontinence problem. Like, if you kind of see, it just kind of leaks on you. So I mean, I've looked on some forums. I mean, they recommend you take it to get it repaired, but I'm kind of not too interested on vintage pens or stuff like that. I mean, I'm more of a practical person. I mean, I like a pen that I can use on a daily basis and that I enjoy, not necessarily, with a sentimental value anymore. And this one, during the school days, it was either Parker or Waterman, and this is the Waterman Laureate. This has also seen some hard times. The pen's still working. There's no leaks on this, which is I'm quite happy about. But there is a small damage. I don't know if you can see that, but it's more cosmetic damage rather than the actual pen damage, which is the most important thing. Again, this is it's been a good pen for me. It's never let me down, so I've been quite happy with this, which is why it's still part of my pen collection. Now, I mean, the goal of my pen collection is actually to collect sufficient pens that I can use on a daily basis, that I won't need to add any more pens. And also, I'm working on a budget, so I'm not going to spend any cent more than I need to finish my collection. And once the collection is finished, then for me it's finished. I won't add any more to it. I won't even look at fountain pens again. It's just there. I can enjoy it. And one of the things that got me started back into fountain pens again was having to mark some papers recently. And normally, when you're marking papers, you need to use a color that is different from black or blue. So I wanted to use a green or red, and I've been told red is very aggressive, so you need to try to use green so you don't make anybody cry and that kind of thing. So I mean, which is all fine. I mean, which is then I'm limited to my choices. I mean, I look at these Biro ball pens, and they do come in this green and red. You remember those 4-color pens where you just rotate the color depending on what you need to do? I mean, I tried to look for one of those again, and then I realized actually I don't really enjoy using the pen, and which is why I decided to get some new fountain pens and to experiment with some new ink, basically. And so one day, about 2 months ago, I was walking past a fountain pen, or a pen store, basically, and I walked in and I saw this. This is a Kaweco Supra fountain pen made by a German company. And I really liked it instantly. I mean, I told the guy I wanted to try it out, but I pretty much decided to buy this pen before even testing it, which is, which kind of shows you what an impulse buy that was. And I was kind of attracted to the kind of gadgets. I'm a big James Bond fan, so when I saw this pen, it kind of reminded me of the scene in The Man with the Golden Gun, where the guy Scaramanga is trying to piece together his pen, lighter to form a gun. So when I saw this, I thought, wow, this is it's quite a gadget. I mean, you can make the pen shorter, like so. If you wanted to put it in your pocket, you can have a short pen. But I kind of always preferred the longer pen with the heavier weight. So when you piece it together like this, it's, I think in total around 53 grams in total. If you post it as well, there's even more weight onto the pen, but I think this is kind of sufficient weight for everyday writing. But if you're writing, I mean a lot, but then I probably wouldn't recommend it. It becomes too heavy after a while. I mean, looking at some of the other pens in my collection, I mean, so far these pens were inherited, you know, they were gifts. So this one is from a bank. When you open an account, they give you a free gift. This is quite nice weight to it as well. It's a blue lacquer finish. It has a medium nib. I mean, I much prefer the wider nibs, like the broad nibs. I mean, for me, a fine nib is too scratchy. You know, it kind of reminds me of running fingernails through the chalkboard, really. So I'm not too keen on the fine nibs. If anybody can kind of sell me the idea that you can get a fine nib that's kind of smooth writing and with good ink flow, you know, feel free to recommend any pens in the post below. Here I have a Parker 51. Again, this is one of the pens from my school days, but again it has another problem with leaking, and I'm not too fond of the Parker styles anymore. I think times have changed and the usage of pens has also changed. This one was another one from my school days. It's a Schaefer calligraphy pen. You really can't use this every day because basically the nib is so fat. It's I think it's a 2.0 nib. So you would need a lot of paper if you're gonna write every day with this pen. And so, which is why I'm trying to research what sort of pens I'm gonna need in my portfolio. And I'm kind of a little bit lost at the minute. So I started to do some research, and so I like the broad nibs, but not the fine nibs. So something in between, like a broad or a little bit more than a broad, which is why I looked at this one. This is a pen from Twsbi. It has a 1.1 millimeter stub nib, which I like very much. It's not too calligraphy type like a 2.0, and it's a little bit more than a broad as well, so I kind of like it. And also I kind of like the feature as well with this felling mechanism. It uses a piston filled rather than cartridges, so you can just dip into your ink pot and you can twist to fill your own ink. And one of the things I wanted to find was a red ink, and so I've been looking at red inks, different types, and to be honest, there's not much choice out there. It's there's the Waterman brands, and then you have your Pelicans and whatnot, but actually, you know, I found them to be expensive, especially the Mont Blanc inks at $25, and also the Pilot at $35. I think it's very expensive if you're kind of just starting off collecting pens and you really want to try some out, and when you go to the store they don't really stock it. And so what I decided to do was to kind of make my own, or mix my own type of red ink. So I had a whole lot of kind of Waterman ink cartridges left over from my school days. So what I did, I started to, if you can see, just to try out some of the ink colors, reuse some of the old ink cartridges. You can, a neat trick to kind of, you know, not purchase you know, 5 or 6 different bottles of red color ink and then decide that it's not the right shade that you want. So I started to experiment with this ink, and I found the Waterman ink to be a little bit too bright. I wanted to make a darker red ink, you know, so it's less of a impact when I'm marking my papers. So I decided to add some black ink into this mix. So here, this is a 5-part Waterman ink with half a part of a black cheap and nasty ink cartridge. I can't even remember the brand of this black ink. I don't think it was a brand. It's one of those Walmart type 100 ink cartridge type deals. So but it's more to kind of experiment rather than get mixing brands right now. I will be mixing more color inks in the coming months, particularly like this blue and black ink of this Pilot. So I'm going to try and recreate that on a budget. So like I said, I will post those results when I have those. Wanted to talk about also a little bit about pen carry cases. I mean, right now it's not so important because I really only use probably the 2 pens, the Twsbi in a red and the Kaweco in a green, and that's enough for me to mark some papers. But actually, if you think about it, everyday writing, you probably need to add a third pen for this, you know, either in a black or blue. So I am on the lookout for a new pen. So if you have any ideas what pen I could add to that, I've been looking at the Pilot capless pen. So this is a pen that's retractable pen. I mean, I'm quite interested in gadgets as well, so that may be an option for me. But I've looked on the internet for some prices. I mean, it's ranging around the $220, $250 price bracket range, which is quite a big price jump if you kind of just starting off. So I wanted to see if there's any alternatives out there. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. I will consider those ideas and probably purchase some of the cheaper options first before going for the Pilot capless. Maybe some of you already have these Pilot capless and tell me to buy it straight away. It's well recommended. Then I'm also willing to consider, you know, your reasoning as to why that is. Also, in the coming months, I will be testing the ink on some paper. Right now, it's not really worth showing you some of the results on this paper because it's not any Rhodia paper or any Clairefontaine paper here. It's this is the cheap and nasty paper that I have, and I really waiting to test on some good quality paper. So again, in my next video, I will post some different samples of writing on the paper. So hopefully I will see you next time, and if you have any comments, please let me know. I'll see you next time. Cheers.